Hi guys, so this was a fight that I had a few weeks ago on my Soul Level 80 character, my Drake Blood Knight cosplay build with the Vigor Gouge you all know and love. And yeah, this was a very fun fight, a very interesting fight with someone who was very experienced in the game. And after the fight had finished and I had done my little victory dance, I had a little think about this fight and what it meant, and it made me think of two very interesting points that I just wanted to share with you guys. First of all, back when my channel was but new and I first started getting my first whiff of subscribers, I made a video about invasions and dueling, and it was basically me explaining how that I felt my weak point when it came to PvP in this game was the 1v1 duels. And although I was good and experienced with multi-man, you know, PvEers, all that stuff, I could win those quite handily. The 1v1s, even against your average Joe PvPer sword and board types, I found it incredibly difficult, and more often than not would lead to a loss. And in that video I sort of made a promise to myself that I would practice those kinds of fights and I would get better at them. And over the last, I don't know, however long it was now, 8 months, I think it was, that is something that I have been focusing on a lot. Whether I've sort of remembered and, you know, consciously thought about it or not, that's something that I've been working on. And after this fight finished, it sort of, and I watched it back, it made me think about how far I'd come, you know. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes. We always see the mountain up ahead of us, and we see the massive peaks yet to climb. We remember the losses more than we remember the victories, even the good victories. Like you'll forget the 100 people who shook your hand, but you'll always remember that one person who slapped you in the face. So I think it's important for everyone, myself included, to just take a look back down the mountain and see how far we've climbed, because you'd be incredibly surprised. I watched some of my older videos recently for shits and gigs, like my really old ones that got like no views, and it was me PvPing in like Gankwoods and Swamp, and I was awful player. Like I wasn't awful, but I was nowhere near to the standard I thought I should have been, and nowhere near to the standard that I am now. And watching those videos and seeing how this fight ends up playing out, it just made me feel good, you know. And I think that's something that we all need to do from time to time. Just go back and so all you creators, go back and watch your old fights. You know, watch your really early videos and see how you play, and then watch one of your newest videos and see how you play now, and see what you would have done differently back then. It's a really interesting little thought experiment to do. So yeah, it made me think of that, and also it made me think of, after this fight was over, my initial reaction at the end of the fight was to smile, laugh, roll my eyes, and go, God, what a bloody tryhard, eh? And completely unironically, I might add, like I not a hint of irony about me, calling this guy tryhard. And then I went away and thought about it again. I watched the fight again, just to, you know, get off on the fact that I did really well. And I was thinking, wait a minute, am I a tryhard as well? Have I become a tryhard? And I think the answer is yes. And at this point in the game's life cycle, no matter what build you're running, you know, whether you're doing some meme build or using weird weapons that no one ever uses, we're all tryhards at this point, in one form or another. Because being a tryhard, to me, it's a lot of different components. Being a tryhard means you could be using meta weapons like Lothric Knight's Straight Sword and Shield, you know, any straight sword and shield, in all honesty. But then it can't just be that, because then we got people like I Am Amish, Sing Riot, anyone who uses a straight sword who does these videos, and they have a very healthy attitude towards other players and, you know, the game in general. So I wouldn't call them tryhard. It's a facet of being a tryhard, but not the whole deal. There's, as I mentioned, the toxic attitude towards the game and other players, and again, that's part of it. But if anyone who's seen my invasion streams will know that I can become a toxic, nasty asshole at times, especially when I'm fucking losing. I will talk shit about players, I will criticise their playstyle, and I will be a general obnoxious asshole. All in the heat of the moment, like when I'm not playing the game and I'm, you know, back to my normal desalted self. I would like to think that I'm quite a pleasant person to be around and to talk to. So it can't just be being a toxic asshole in the spur of the moment. Is it doing all you can to win? Because I'm going to be honest here, I try really hard to win all of my fights. I must admit, maybe I don't go full balls in like this chap does. Eventually he starts chugging Seek Brows on me to try and beat me. I don't know whether that's because he was enjoying the fight and wanted it to last, or he was really desperate to beat me. But still, is that an attitude of being a tryhard? Like, I try really hard to win. Like all my fights, I enjoy winning. I try damn hard, guys. It's a combination of all these things, but also none of them at the same time. Because I don't think that I'm a toxic asshole. I don't use meta weapons. I try hard to win, yes, but not at the expense of, I don't know, what I see as creativity and fun. But then, is it by virtue of the fact that I have almost 3 years of experience in this game, and that even though I'm using non-meta weapons and setup, I can still quite handily beat the majority of players? I don't know. What do you guys think? How would you define being a tryhard? Because it's a question that I've been wrestling with for the past few days, and I can't come up with a decent answer. I know I'm a tryhard. I've come to admit that. I've come to accept that as part of who I am as a player in this game, but I can't define it or really. Yeah, I can't give it a strict definition of what it means to be a tryhard. I think it's a grey area, really. There are shades of tryhard. But anyway, so you see this guy we were fighting. For some strange and bizarre reason, he wanted to swap his weapons up to the Black Knight sword, which is fine. Weapon swapping, don't give a shit about. But he also changed his clothes because he was wearing the Wing Knight armor, and he's gone to Wilhelm's. I don't know whether he needed his lucky armor set in order to beat me, or he needed, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what was going on. Oh dear. So yeah, I'm just rambling at the moment, so I won't talk anymore. I'll let you guys just watch the fight and see how it unfolds. Like I said, fun fight, ends on a bit of a weird note, as you'll see. But thanks for listening, guys, and just let me know what you think. What would you define a tryhard as? Right, I'll speak to you later.